To start off our class, we will be making this stacked chevron ring. We will be using a ruler as well as a file, and I chose a size 7 for my ring mandrel. And for our wire, we are using 20 gauge solid brass wire. For our tools, we are using wire cutters, nylon jaw pliers, and our needle nose pliers. Starting off, we are going to grab the nylon jaw pliers and smooth out a length of wire. To begin the ring, we will take our needle nose pliers and placing the wire in the very tip of the jaws, we are going to create a small loop at the end of the wire. Now taking the ring mandrel, we will place the wire onto it and start bending the wire around the mandrel. With what looks like about halfway around the ring mandrel, we will begin bending the wire to create the first chevron shape. To create the first bend in the wire, you can either use your fingers, as I am doing here, or grab your needle nose pliers to create the bend in the wire. We want to make sure that the peak of our chevron lines up with the loop at the back of the ring. So after we check that point to make sure that we're in the right spot with our wire, we will then bend that wire into a sharp angle. Now to create our third and final bend on this little chevron shape, we want to make sure that it is lined up with our first bend on the other side of the chevron peak. A useful tip for getting a nice sharp angle into your wire is to crease the wire. And basically by that I mean bending the wire past the point at which you want it and then bringing it back helps create a tighter bend in the wire. Holding the wire firmly on the ring mandrel, we are going to bring the long end of the wire around again, and using that first chevron as our guide, we're going to repeat the steps, creating 3 bends in the wire to create our second chevron. Using our fingers to create the initial bend, we will then crease the wire and then bring it back so that our angle is a little bit sharper and it holds its shape better. After creating the third bend in the wire, we will then wrap the long end of the wire completely around the ring mandrel once more and repeat all of these steps one more time to create a third chevron. Wrapping the wire as tightly as possible around the ring mandrel, holding it firmly in our fingers so that the chevrons line up with each other as we begin bending the wire. Using the chevron below as our guide, we will take the wire, creasing it to create our sharp angles and creating our third and final chevron. Once we finish creating the chevron shape, we will then bring the long end of the wire around to the back of the ring. Here we are going to take our wire cutters and cut off the extra wire, leaving enough wire so that we can create a small loop to match the first one that we made at the beginning. Using our needle nose pliers, we will bend the wire up and around to create a loop that goes in the opposite direction of the first loop that we wrapped. Placing the wire into the very tip of the pliers, we'll bend it around to create a small circle. A neat little trick for flattening down wire is to use the handle of your pliers. Now once we release the tension where we were holding the wire onto the ring mandrel, all the wire is going to want to spring back and loosen up a little bit. So using our fingers, we are going to spread the ring apart, separating the chevrons and then twisting them together to tighten up the ring back into its original size. At this point, we can also tighten or loosen the angles of the chevrons so that they are more even and matching to each other. Once you are done adjusting the shape and size, you have completed the stacked chevron ring. I'd love to see pictures of your finished project, so please upload those and comment and let me know how this class went for you. And now I'll catch you in the next video.